It's a very morning to three-time Grand Slam champion, World Grand Prix winner, two-time world champion, former champion of the world. It's Gerwyn Price. Gerwyn, thanks very much for joining us this morning. First of all, how are you, mate?
Yes, I'm good. You good?
Good form or great? Are you bit of tours? You got one or two press bits today, or are you just in to see you?
Yeah, so I've got obviously this morning, a little bit with Ladbrokes, I think later on, doing a bit on the grounds, and yeah, that's it for the day. And a bit more media tomorrow with the PDC.
Good. First question. The darts, man, right? Everybody loves the darts.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the darts. For years, me and the boys, particularly at Christmas over that period, we sit there, we're up.
Yally pally.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing. Can you believe, Gerwyn, the change, the rise and the profile of darts?
Yeah, especially over the last 12, 18 months since the young kid has come along. I mean, it's a different age group as well. I think the age group was between 30 and 60, and it's dropped right down to the youngsters, right down to 15 or maybe lower. But yeah, since Luke has come along, it's gone crazy. Like
now, I've always been obsessed with precise sports, and I mean that with golf being needed, you need to be so precise and accurate. And I'd go snooker, and I'd put darts in that bracket because there's no room for nerves in darts, is there? Because you're literally such a small area to hit.
Yeah, and that's what people always talk about. What's harder, the 147 or 9 data?
Yeah.
But I think you have to be more precise on a 9 data. You can't rely on any luck. You can't run out of position. Every dart's got to really be perfect. So yeah, like you say, it's millimetres. You're either in, out, or out of a tournament.
Yeah.
Practice, obviously, vitally important in the routine. How often are you practicing? I take it, you mentioned the young kids now. I was talking to somebody up in Glasgow, and the amount of young kids, and it will be done, a lot of it will be done to the young kid that's come in, there's no doubt about that. But they're practicing, they're playing. You at the top level, how often are you practicing?
For me, when the Premier League's on, I don't really practice though, because you're constantly on the road.
Yeah.
I could go away on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then I won't get home till a Monday. So I'm only home for 2 days. My darts are down. My match day playing. That is my practice. But now Premier League's going to be over. After this week, I'll start putting a few more hours on the board. I only do an hour or two a day. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's first 6 months of the year I don't really practice.
Yeah. It used to be just the World Championship, but the Premier League has just jumped in. Just the amount of people that are interested in the Premier League, which is another great thing for you darts players.
Yeah, it is, and I mean I know we're on the road all the time, and sometimes us players complain that we're on the road too much, but yeah, it's great. It's good for your profile. It's good for if you have the sponsorship or anything, and you're constantly on TV. But yeah, Premier League is huge now, and I think it's only going to get bigger and better. Like,
well, it's all happening this week. You played Luke Littler twice. I think you played 4 times, beat each other twice. See, in terms of you've got an opponent, how much do you think about the opponent, or is the vast majority of Gerwyn, it's all about how you perform, how you play?
Yeah, I think that's probably where I've got an edge over Luke and everybody else, or over the other players when they play those sort of players, because I literally do just play the board, and I know if I play my A game, then nobody else really matters. And that probably sounds a little bit arrogant, but
you got to believe in it.
I believe in my own ability. But yeah, and I don't really care about the Lukes and Michaels. I know if I play well, then I've got a real good chance of winning.
Will there be an element of tactics, for example, if you're playing I don't know, you're playing Michael, for example, and he likes to play quickly? Can I knock them out their stride a little bit? Can you slow them down?
Well, no, I've never really said this, but when I used to play a player, Mensa Sulovic, and he's quite slow. So there's for me, I would just go a little bit slower than him. Then he would speed up. Then I'd speed up. So I'd get in my own rhythm. So
see, that's the tactics I want to know.
But certain players who like for him, he is really, really slow. So then I would try and go a little bit slower than him. Then he'd try and quick up. Then I'd quick, and then before, I don't think he'd even know that he'd be playing at my pace. So it's just little things like that. But some people, maybe Mensa does it, I don't know, but they do play tactics, and you just got to learn to play the player, or how they're going to play then.
See, I look at Gerwyn, and when I watch darts, I'm going to associate a player I played with in football. Roy Keane enjoyed intimidating and pressurising, but didn't do it just had a way about him.
Yes.
And you remind me of that when I see you in the darts. You look like you're enjoying the pressure of putting on other players, and come on then, and that's not a criticism. That's a big thing to have, because
but a lot of people think that the way I am on stage is to put my opponent off, and don't get me wrong, if I know that someone's not going to like anything, I'm not going to stop doing it. But I don't do it purposely to put them off. I mean, sometimes I've held my game off and tried not to celebrate, to try and, not get the crowd involved, because sometimes my game, they get on top of me, and then the moment I do that, my game's out the window. So then I just have to play my own game, and it is nothing technically, but obviously if people don't like it, then I can't help that. Like.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you about that, because the one thing, particularly Ali Pally crowd, absolutely fantastic. When you see Desperate Dan sitting having a pint with Fred Flintstone and things like that, I mean, there's something about it that's just beautiful, and the atmosphere's fantastic. But a kind of double-edged sword question for you: how much do you enjoy the atmosphere, particularly at events like that? And how close is the line to them crossing that divide where they get a little bit over the top? And where are you accepted more? Obviously, I would imagine in Wales. And where do you get a little bit of stick?
Yeah, but obviously, when you go to the World Championship and the bigger events, like Premier League, a lot of the fans there are there for the evening. I don't think they're really interested in darts. They're there for the atmosphere and a couple of beers and just enjoying the night. And when you go to the likes of the match play and the smaller events, and you only get 3,000 or 4,000 people in there, I think they're the proper true fans who give you the respect and let players play their own game. But yeah, Ali Pali and some of the Premier League, they're ruthless. Like
I remember the days at the Circus Tavern. And obviously you're younger, but you just felt the atmosphere was just extraordinary then, and it's multiplied tenfold since then, if not more.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yes, when we're playing in England, 90% of the time, and being Welsh doesn't really help. Like you probably had it being Scottish.
It doesn't look like it bothers you though.
No, but the thing is, like, after the Grand Slam 2018 up until maybe 2022, when the crowd were against me, I played some of my best stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I started playing rubbish and they were backing off, and sort of, I get a lot of support now. And I'm not playing as well. It's like, I'm not saying I want them to be on my back, but it did help in a certain way. Like I think made my career come forward, made me concentrate a lot more. And but I don't think I want to go back there. But no. I played a bit better then.
And how are you feeling about it coming up to the climax of the Premier League season?
Yeah, I mean,
what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I'm going to win. Obviously, I'm playing really well. I've got a good record over young Luke, and I think he'll be thinking about it more than I will. Like I said, I don't really care who I play. The only thing leading up to it is just how well I think I'm going to play, and I can usually tell, the 3 hours before the game when I'm practicing whether I'm on it or whether I'm not. But yeah, Thursday.
You had a 9-dieter against him, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And
what was that like?
That was in Manchester as well, in his backyard, so that was good.
What's it like, Gerwyn, nowadays? You'll know better than we'll ever know. And I think, for example, like golf, for example, when it comes to a major, I think there's more players now capable of winning a major. Some people might argue it's dominated by Scheffler and Rory, and I get that, but I think generally speaking,
there's a good 10 maybe plus.
Yes. Yeah. Is that the same with darts? Maybe we're talking 15, 20 years ago, there's maybe John Lowe's and Bristow's and maybe wee jockey and things like that. Is the standard greater now and more people will capable of winning tournaments?
To be honest with you, I think it's an hard one, because I don't think the standard is better now than what it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when you had the likes of Michael and Peter and Michael Smith, Johnny Clayton. Everyone was playing well. At the minute, everyone's trying to play in too much, and they're just going through the motions. They're not 100% focused every tournament, and I think that's where the PDC are probably putting a little bit too much on. And then when people are turning up, they go, doesn't matter, we'll play again next week. And then players are sometimes missing tournaments and giving boys opportunity, giving them a little bit of confidence, boys that wouldn't usually win tournaments. And then just players are not playing really well. I mean, boys at the top, I don't think you get the one or two. Obviously the two Lukes are playing really, really well, but boys that you would know from years ago just really slipped off, I think.
Well, Van Gerwen slightly has had a dip, hasn't he? Where he was, 3 or 4 years ago, he felt like the main man, and his darts haven't been
really, but and it's a psychological game, and Michael knows in his head, as well as everybody else does, that he's beatable now. Whereas before, I just think he thought he was unbeatable, which sometimes he was like.
Yeah. We're coming up at the end of the season. We've got the Champions League game on Saturday. That's the football season effectively over. We can chill, we can relax. What do you do to chill and relax when there's no darts?
That's the thing. Whenever I'd like to take a bit of time off, and then when I'm home, I'm in the chippy cooking some fish and chips.
Well, hey, you've got to get out of there. That was my final question. Here we've got it. The aptly named Chippy 501. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, well, obviously bank holiday. I say not many people open on a bank holiday, but we did. And I'd done a post in the morning, and yeah, from 11:30 or 11:20 right up until 3 o'clock, it was non-stop. And I was in there on the range cooking some fish with my daughter and my niece. It was just flat out all day, but I love it in there. Like, and it takes my mind away from darts, and I actually enjoy being in there working and with the family as well.
Big question, final question. I need to know.
Go on, you do it.
Is it cod or haddock?
God. But we have tried haddock, but not many people want it.
What?
Yeah.
I'm a haddock man.
I think we've taken over from the Scottish as well.
I think in West of Scotland mainly more haddock.
Yeah. Most people come in for cod.
Yeah. Is that right, do they?
Yeah.
Can't he beat it? I can't. By the way, the problem.
He looks pretty fit.
I was going to say,
you're not fit enough to.
It might be my death row meal, a fish supper.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. I could eat it every day.
Oh mate, I can't. You can't beat a fish supper. Listen, mate, thanks for coming in to join us. We wish you all the very, very best this week. It's been a great week for you. Well, hopefully it'll be a great week for you in climax for the Premier League season. Thanks for taking the time to come in and join us, Gerwyn.
My pleasure.
Great stuff.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.